Buzz, 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 YellowjacketsHive, and welcome back to the third episode of Hive After Dark, covering season 3 of Yellowjackets. Third episode covering episode 4. I'm your host, Emily, and I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Hive this week. I had some thoughts after this one. I'll just say that. Last week's episode was a crazy one too. On TM, hello. Hi, Dustin. And the after show was a lot of fun with having Nia come on and share her thoughts, and then having Brody, aka the man with no eyes, in the chat talking to us. And he gave us some insight that nobody had really paid attention to before, which was just really cool. Would love for him to join us every single week. That would be really fun. But tonight we're going to be discussing episode 304 titled 12 Angry Girls and One Drunk Travis. And I don't know about you guys, but I try to make sense of what the episode titles are every week, and normally there's like an obvious reason as to what it is. But I had trouble figuring out where like the drunk Travis part came in. I don't know if anybody else picked up on something that I didn't, but the 12 Angry Girls was obvious, but the one drunk Travis just kind of threw me off. And as we all suspected, a wilderness trial of sorts was indeed held for our beloved coach, and we will break that all down. I enjoyed this episode the most so far, I think, and it left me with some very strong feelings about one of the girls, which I will get to a little bit later. But like I said, I was generally pleased with this. I felt like it was a really strong episode. There were a couple of little things that happened that just kind of confirmed some thoughts that I had from the trailer. Nothing big. Like, I speculated that Shauna was hiding in a freezer. And obviously, as we saw, Shauna did in fact hide in a freezer this episode. And we all kind of thought that there was going to be a wilderness trial, and we saw that because that encompassed pretty much all of the teen timeline. And what I was not expecting, though, was what we got at the very end of the episode. It really shocked me. I sat there staring at my screen for a couple minutes. I have a lot of questions for the showrunners, as I'm sure a lot of other people do too. But before I go in depth too much about my own personal thoughts and observations and recap, I thought I'd bring on my friend Chloe. And this time I'll actually be able to hear her and she'll be able to hear me. So
Hi.
there she is. Hello,
Oh my God,
Chloe.
it's so bright. Why is it so bright? Hold on. I know it's because I have the sun in my house, aka
With your
the
grow
grow.
lights.
Yeah, it's like, hi. I'm so happy
Hello.
to be here. Hi.
So thank you for joining me, first of all. But overall, what were your general thoughts about all of this?
Thanks for having me. I thought that I had a moment of relief, like few minutes in, where I was like, "Oh, okay, there they are. This is the yellow jackets we know and love," and so that was really, really fun. I loved the last episode, but this one was my favorite, and it was just, it's really exciting when you see familiar things and then they take that into a very new direction. So that felt very fresh to me. Loved this episode, and I have spent like 2 days thinking about Shauna and Lottie. Like, is that normal? Is this what we do now? Like, we're just walking around thinking about fictional characters? Yeah, great episode.
Yeah, for sure. I find myself thinking about the show more than a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So I get that. What did you think about the ending? Did it shock you?
10 out of 10 did not expect it. Zero, like not even. But then you start to think about it and you're like, oh yeah, all the signs were there that something was going to go wrong. But and I've been thinking a lot about this, so I don't know what your thoughts or everybody else's thoughts are, but Lottie came into the adult timeline existence through a voicemail. Who the fuck is Lottie Matthews? And
Mhm.
she left through like a text message, or whatever the picture that she opened in the citizen boards. And, and I'm like, what does that mean? Why, like, what is it about Lottie that is both central and kind of like on the sidelines? I don't know. I really want to know, like, what people think about it, because I thought that was a very intentional and brilliant choice.
Yeah, it had to be because it just makes me wonder because of the fact that they were going down the Cali road with Lottie, and that's obviously not going to be expanded on anymore.
Right.
So why introduce that in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, is it because they're trying to plant a seed that's what got Shauna going? Or I feel like there's more to it, but I don't know. I can't say. I'm stumped on the Lottie thing. I'm just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, and I mean, we don't know yet, but I'm assuming someone killed her. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think she was there on accident.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that brings into question, like, who would want to kill her? Who would who has that strong feelings about her that they would do that?
I mean, first of all, Shauna, like,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons, and like those are legitimate reasons
Oh,
for
somebody
Shauna.
says there's an echo and it's crunchy. What does that mean? I don't know. Is it on my end or is it on your end?
Yeah, good question.
Um,
How about now? Is it
let me
crunchy? Is it still crunchy?
I think the echo part might be taken care of, but
Okay.
I don't know. Whoever said that, give us your input because it sounds different to me than it does to everybody else. So when Emily talks,
Okay.
all right, let me see. Is that better? No, I can kind of still hear it.
I hear you just fine, but I don't know. Maybe that I'm like a different experience.
What about now? No, I still kind of hear it too. I hear what they're talking about, but it's Emily's audio coming from Chloe's voice call. Oh, I think it might be they are saying that they can hear me through your computer.
Oh, I oh well. What do, what do
I
I do
think that's
about
what
that?
they're I think that's what they're if Chloe mutes her YouTube, can she still hear you? Probably not. I'm gonna assume no.
Oh, YouTube. What? Where am I?
Oh, sorry, Allison just asked if Chloe mutes her YouTube, can she still hear you?
I don't have that playing elsewhere except the very screen I'm on right now. I think that's very funny that we have like technical issues like every time I come here.
I know, because I mean, I did this earlier when I interviewed Alexa, and I didn't have any audio problems then.
I started with a mic and then I turned it off, and so I don't know if that does anything, but
I don't either, but we're gonna just keep going because I don't know what else to. It's from the actual call between Chloe and M. Someone says, "Okay, Champion Chris, then how do we fix that?"
yeah, how do we should I like hang up and then come back?
That normally fixes the problem with this kind of thing. It could be the no mic. Oh well, not that bad. We can still hear. That is kind of strange that every single time that
I
I
know.
bring you on
I
that
know.
we have these technical issues.
The wilderness is sending a message. Should I like leave and come back? I don't want this to be like annoying for everyone.
You could try.
Okay.
There's no harm in trying.
All right,
Go
let's do
ahead.
it. Bye.
All right. Sorry, guys. This is the perks of live streaming. It's M's call. It's M's audio on the call coming from closed speakers. So how do I go about fixing that? Try that. Have you tried turning it on and off? Okay.
Okay, how about now?
I don't hear an echo. I don't know. Do you guys still hear an echo? Mm,
Testing.
it's like a slight delay and it echoes Emily's voice onto closed feed. I understand what you guys are saying. I just don't know how to fix the problem.
Unbelievable. Should we do this another time?
It says that somebody said, does she have some headphones she can put on?
Okay, so I'm connected. Can you say something?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're coming through the thing. How about now? Does it make a difference? Anybody?
I don't know, guys. Does it make a difference? Can you guys still hear an echo? I don't hear an echo anymore. So that might have fixed it.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Everybody's saying that's much better. I'm just gonna go hold my microphone because I dropped my little magnet.
Let's push through. Let's do this.
So we've spoken quite a bit about this episode, like personally, and I know that we have very similar strong feelings about Shauna and her behavior in this episode, particularly teen Shauna. What kind of feelings did she like provoke out of you? Like, what did she make you feel? What about what she did like made you have such strong feelings?
I don't think I have ever, well, maybe Game of Thrones, but I don't think I've ever had like a moment where I was just watching something entirely fictional where I was so activated, like I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know if I wanted to just like take a walk or like I was just like shouting at the TV and at the girls, like, what the fuck is going on? This is not fair. It was just like it felt a little out of character because they're turning against one of their own like that, you know. And it's just like it was so obvious that like they could tell that he didn't do it, but I think that Shauna is so consumed by rage and shame and guilt that it's just too much for her, because whenever she had those moments where she could, okay, he was getting through to her, then, you know, there was Thaisa, smoke and mirrors, and just, you know, planting a seed, and that's all she needed to just go over the edge. I mean, I truly feel for her, and holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's been upsetting, and I feel like the writers need to do something. We need some kind of redemption. Like we just do. Like I can't see them giving us this amazing character that is so complex and really having us feel for her plight, only to take that completely entirely away. Like there's just no way, in my opinion. There's just no way.
Yeah, because
Crying.
she's reaching the point of no return. Like I have made so many excuses for her behavior up to this point just because she's been through so much traumatic shit and a person can only handle so much. But at the same time, I don't even know why it was, because like she's done worse than what she did here, like in reality. But
I think that it comes down to this for me. I've narrowed it down to this. Are her actions driven from like trauma or PTSD, or by some kind of motivation? Because if it is the trauma thing, we get it. Like we get how like she is triggered, she's activated, we understand it. Something happens and now, but if it is like cruelty, then there's a motivation there. And I think that I'm not saying that she's cruel. I'm saying that she's very, very, very close to that line. Like she is on extremely thin ice. And so I feel like they're just going to reveal her in such a way where we start to, you know, like with Walter White, it's like, yeah, he wanted to do that for his family and we love that. And then towards the end, it's like,
nah, I think he just really likes to do this shit. It's like it's no longer about his family. It's just like who he is.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see it. I could
Anyway,
see it going that way. And another thing that like kind of irked me was that uh, I mean, we know that Ben at least saved Van in that cave, like from the gas or whatever. Like
yes,
we saw him
yes,
drag her to safety. And I was assuming that he did the same for Akila and Shauna. So
yeah.
he saved your life and you're still gonna do that to him. Like,
Like
and
he
he directed his
knowingly,
apology at like to you.
right,
Like
right.
those words that he said, they were for everybody, but he said your
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
agree with what he did when that happened. Like he should have
yeah,
stepped up more, but like their scenario is just so bonkers. Like how can you
yeah,
fault somebody for that at the same
yeah.
time?
I thought it was interesting that those two things weren't mentioned, that, they didn't say like what Ben did, both in terms of like helping Mari and helping the girls. Ben showed up wearing a mask when he went to, save Van, etc.
Yeah,
Like you could tell that he was prepared, like he knew what was waiting for them, and he
that's
did
true.
that. He did
Yeah.
that to save them. That wasn't mentioned. And what about the stuff that he found? Whatever happened to that stuff?
Yeah, I was thinking
Nobody
about
said it.
that
He didn't
today.
say anything about, like, what is that? Is that just like last like domino piece? Like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, because that would be really valuable stuff to have, especially like if we know they're going to be out there for another winter, so they're
Right,
going to need stuff to
right.
survive.
Yeah,
And that's resources just wasted if they don't do anything with them.
yeah,
Unless
yeah.
he just never tells them about it. But like didn't Mari see it when she was there?
She just saw the bear thing and the and the hot chocolate. I think that he's like making sure that that stuff is put away and no one
Yeah,
sees it.
that's
'Cause,
yeah. I don't know if I'd want to tell anybody about it if I were him
yeah,
because
it's amazing currency in the
yeah.
wilderness. It's wilderness currency.
Yeah. So what do you think about the fact that we've had 4 episodes so far and we have seen no sign of Hillary Swank?
Whew, I don't know what to think about it. I mean,
I don't either.
I there's part of me that is kind of like looking forward to it, but then there's part of me that is kind of like excited that they haven't revealed her yet. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just like how it is. Um,
I'm
I
impressed
think,
that they've managed to keep it this lock and key.
yeah, like good for them. They learned
Yeah,
from last year's mistakes or last season's mistakes. I feel like I'm glad that they did that. Um, I don't think it's any of our mains
I
that
don't either.
killed Lottie. I mean, they
No.
want us to think that, and for obvious
Oh,
reasons.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
they
but I
were
don't.
all where Lottie, like they were all in the location that Lottie died when Lottie died. Like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the exception of we don't know if Misty was, but
Just
I mean,
anything is possible with Misty. It's just like Misty, enough said. But Misty's like I wore my Misty shirt today. Misty was like the best thing about the last episode in both timelines. She was amazing. She was like
yeah, she really was.
they're
And the way Riley,
spiraling. They're all spiraling, but Misty started at a certain like I feel like
yeah,
Misty was ahead of the game. And so she's like now she's turned into like the most stable person, like somehow.
yeah. Hmm. I'm going through and trying to remember like all of my most like pressing thoughts too, because I want to hear your opinion on those things. But I mean, Lottie's death is like the number one thing for me that I haven't been able to stop thinking about that since, just
Yeah.
because I'm really wondering like where is the adult timeline going to go from here? Like
Yeah.
I knew I suspected a death would come at some point because it's Yellowjackets. So
Right.
I didn't think that that wasn't going to happen, but I just didn't expect it to happen this early. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
4 episodes in, that's crazy.
They're
That's
not,
really crazy.
I finally understand what they meant that Nat's death was always in the cards because
Yeah.
I'm starting to, I mean, obviously, like all of their deaths are in the cards. Like
Yeah.
basically, that's just, where they're headed, and it's just a matter of like order now, who's gonna go first, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and that makes me very, very sad. Like seriously, like sad. Like, okay, this is how the show is going, and my hope is that we have one last survivor, and that's Misty, because I just don't see Shauna like getting her shit together like that. I just
No way.
don't. Like
No way.
she's just spiraling and spiraling and spiraling, you know, but Misty is someone that can come up with a plan, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Out of all of
Uh,
them, I definitely think that Misty is the most capable in that sense.
yeah,
And like Misty is so intentional in everything that she does.
right,
Like
right.
she has a reason for everything. May not always be the best reason or make the most sense to everybody else, but
Yeah,
she always has a reason. And she's very calculated. Like
she is.
that's why I didn't think that she was the one that messed with Shauna's car, because
Right.
look, what would she gain out of that? There was nothing for her to gain from doing something like that. Like she
No.
did it to Nat because she wanted to go with Nat. And like when Nat wanted to go look for Travis in the
Yeah.
first season.
And you
But
can tell in her reaction too when she's confronted. Like it was a completely different Misty when
oh
Nat
yeah.
was like, "Did you do this?" She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then with and then with Shauna, she was like, "You are the worst friend," you know. And she was so distraught, like it fell and shit, you know.
That was so
She,
funny.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, well, do you have any other thoughts that you want to share before I let you go and I get into the read
No, I don't.
side
I'm
of
sure.
the
I'm sure I do. You and I are chatting about Yellow Jackets like all day long, but I let you do your thing, and I'm just probably gonna jump in the comments like I was never here, you know?
Oh, it was lovely to have you, and I'm sorry that we had technical issues, guys, but
I
we figured it
know.
out.
Yeah. Thanks
That's
for
the
having me,
that's the perks of
Emily.
live streaming.
Yes, exactly,
Go with the
exactly.
flow. All right. Well, we will let you go. And yes, hang out in the comments. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
Bye,
Bye.
Flo.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, we covered uh my most pressing thoughts already. But that is okay. I will just jump right into what I'm going to talk about tonight. But thank you so much, Chloe, for hopping on and sharing your thoughts. I love hearing what everyone has to say about each episode. And Chloe is always so well spoken and so insightful. So it's just lovely to hear from any of you guys, really. As I did, great combo, besties. As I did last week, I'm going to weave in this recap along the way as I share my thoughts and observations sequentially. So let's get started. The very beginning of the episode, Shauna, Keela, and Van are walking back to camp, and Shauna says, "It wasn't that weird. As far as nightmares go, it was like a 6 out of 10 on my crazy dreams meter." And this is what Shauna says when Akila asks her if she thinks that she uh thinks the dream had any meaning to it. And they this to me kind of confirmed that they definitely all saw the same thing. At least the part where they were all in the classroom, they all had to have seen that. Oh, Kennedy, yes. I can't believe we got Mari's last name, Mari Ibarra. And I think it's spelled Ibarra. Oh, I meant to share with you all at the very beginning. Before I get in any further, I will share it right now. I had the chance to chat with Alexa Barajas today, Mari, and I will be editing that interview and releasing it to you all next week. But I wanted to share a little clip of what we talked about today. So here's a little sneak peek of that interview. The fandom likes to create nicknames for characters on the show, and we kind of got into the routine of giving characters who have met their demise a food themed nickname, if you will. For example, Jackie is lovingly referred to as Snacky, and Javi is Javioli. So if you had to choose one for Mari, what would you choose?
Well, hopefully we don't need one soon.
Yeah.
But I think Mari could be Marinara? Marinara?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Some of my friends have actually they suggested that one too. It's really fitting. I mean, it works really well. So, but yeah, I agree. Hopefully, we have no need for that anytime soon.
Hopefully we don't need it.
Yes, Allison, I see you in here. Yay, thank you for asking her this. Yes, I specifically asked this so that I could share it with all of you. But yes, marinara, Melissa. Yes, marinara, marinara, however you want to say it. I thought it was really funny that that was her answer, given that that's been said in the fandom already. So good for her for being creative. But the group makes it back to camp with Coach, and Shauna asks Nat what they plan to do, what the plan is now. And Nat says that Coach deserves to tell his side of the story. And you can tell that Shauna does not like that, like at all. Caramari. That is so good, Sarah. I love that. Caramari. Oh man, I would have never thought of that. That was good. But she decides they're going to do this the right way, and have a trial to determine his guilt or innocence. And Nat says that to decide that they're going to do a 2/3 majority, and that will be the deciding factor. And I was kind of like wondering, like, did she think that that would be enough to get him out of this situation? Because like we can all gather that Nat didn't want anything bad to happen to him, judge based off the way that she was acting, and she was trying to drag it out, delay things as long as she could to protect him. At least that's the way that it seemed to me. But I also thought that Shauna saying it wasn't fair was really rich, and Ty decides to helm the prosecution. Nat's the judge, and Misty heads up the defense for Ben, which came to me as no surprise about Misty defending him. But Ty jumping at the chance to lead prosecution, it to me was just another example of how she is guilty of burning down the cabin, because she's trying to do anything she can to get the attention off of her and onto anybody else. And what better way to do that than to point fingers at Coach and say that he was the one that burned the cabin down. I really think that she was trying to manipulate the situation and keep focus off herself. We come to find out that Shauna had a bad brake booster, aka her brakes just went bad, which seems awfully coincidental if you ask me. The brakes really just went bad. Like, how often does something like that really happen? Granted, I don't know a lot about cars, so maybe I'm wrong in thinking that it's not possible for that to just happen out of the blue. But I mean, like I said, I guess anything is possible, but the showrunners knew we would all assume that someone was behind this, given everything else that's been going on. And like all those things are a little fishy and suspicious. And Jeff says that this is karma coming back around for what we've done, at least what I've done to Kevin, which just cracked me up. I think their van is old and crappy, but that seems too coincidental. Oh yeah, I mean Shauna's van is ancient. Like I'm surprised that like why did they even put money into fixing it? Like I would just get a new car at this point. I feel like Coach could have done it while hallucinating too. You mean burn the cabin down, Melissa? Is that what you mean? Oh, wrong comment. Here we go. I feel like Coach could have done it while hallucinating too. Are you saying you think he could have done that when, like, he could have burned the cabin down while he was hallucinating? Jeff is just too precious. Poor Jeff carrying that guilt. I know, right? Like, Jeff really takes everything to heart, and he had no hand in the actual death of Kevin Tan, yet he still feels responsible for it. He's such a good guy. Like, he is a true ride or die. We see Lottie leaving the bank. Could this possibly have something to do with her going to the bank, or not her going to the bank, I'm sorry. The fact that Travis supposedly left her access to his bank account, and she got all of the money when he died. Could that possibly have something to do with that? I don't know, but it made me think about it for sure, like the Travis in the bank account. And I tried so hard to decipher the name of the bank as she was walking out, but I could not catch it. Like, you can't see it in this picture. I think it's Atlantic something. Does anybody know what the name is of the bank is? Atlantic Coast, Atlantic Trust, something like that. I figured somebody here would know. But she looked so extra bougie here too. She made it seem to Shauna that when she was released from the mental health facility, like, she had nowhere to go and she had no money for anything. But this scene hints that that is not the truth. So that makes me question why lie to Shauna about that. And Ty calls Lottie asking her what she said the night that Nat died, and Lottie said she doesn't remember saying any of that. But I don't know if anybody else picked up on this, but when Lottie was talking to Ty on the phone, Lottie seemed very focused on the construction that was happening directly across the street too. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that or if I was just reading too much into it, but it looked like she was super focused on that construction. And it made me wonder if that ties into where she ends up at the end of the episode. Like, if that could be where her body is found. But I was just curious if anybody else noticed that about the construction. And then we see Akila go to Lottie and confide in her about what she saw in the cave. And Lottie tells her that she had a vision and asks her if she's ready to keep going, to which Akila says, "When do we start?" Which is a totally different tune than the last episode where she was like, "I'm good. Like, don't want anything to do with this." And now it seems like she wants to understand what's going on. And I think if that was happening to me, I would want to understand it too. There was graffiti on the pole over there that looked like the symbols. That's what I was thinking too. Maybe she went into the tunnels under the construction site. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Allison. Thinking it's all tied to what happened to Travis in season 1. Like, maybe she tried something similar. I think she saw someone across the street. I think she goes back to the caves to see visions. Yeah, I think yeah, I would agree with that. So why the sudden change though, like in Akila's behavior? We see Misty go into the enclosure that Coach is being held in, and she slaps the shit out of him and asks why he started the fire after everything they had been through. And she worked really hard to prevent him from killing himself. And she said she thought they were friends, which, oh, Misty, thinking that you guys are friends in jail with birds. Yes, Misty, I'm in a jail with birds. That line just killed me. That was so funny. Jeff said he went on WikiHow, which of course he did because it's Jeff Sadecki, and WikiHow has Jeff Sadecki written all over it, and looked up how to get rid of bad karma. I would love to see Jeff sit at his computer and go to WikiHow and type in how to get rid of bad karma. Like, totally, I could totally see that happening. And so he tells Shauna that he signed them up to volunteer at the same place that Randy does his hours for his DUI, which is just, Randy goes there for DUI and Jeff goes there because he wants to be a good guy. In the scene, he's gathering random stuff and putting it in a box that is designated to charity. And we also see a flyer pertaining to a missing cat that Jeff says he wants to find. And Shauna says the flyer is from like 2 years ago. So, and he was like, yeah, but that'll be extra karma points. So Jeff is going to go on the hunt for a cat that's been missing for 2 years. And then we see Van and Ty in public. and they have a deck of cards. And to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure how I felt about this scene and this storyline and this part of what we saw. I'm not 100% sold on what transpires in this scene. I don't really like the idea of them just laying a card down on the street and having some random person just pick it up as a sacrifice without it like involving any like ritual or any of the other women or like a specific deck of cards. Like now it can just be a random deck of cards that you get anywhere. Like the queen doesn't have to have the eyes blacked out. Like I don't think it works the way they're trying to make it work. Yes, I don't like the idea of them going after someone random either. Like what were they going to do? Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts about that. Like when they went up to his apartment door, I was just like, are they really going to walk into some random guy's apartment and just kill him because they think it's going to like appease the wilderness? Like I don't know how I feel about that. It just I'm glad that they stopped and pivoted and switched directions. That very disturbing. They look like they were in a trance. Yes, when Ty goes to open the door and she says, "This is a sign ban," I definitely think like Dark Ty was in full force at that point. I think that she was pulling the strings, and she was in charge, and she had fully taken over in that moment, I think. Ty believing the way she did is a stretch. Yeah. Why did evil Ty suddenly vanish? That was Dark Ty 100%. Yeah. I totally agree, Chloe. It was definitely Dark Ty. Coach's trial starts and Ty calls Mari up for questioning, which, as we said earlier, we found out Mari's last name, which is Ibarra, which always great to get a last name for a character. Just makes them have a little bit more personality, I guess, if you will. And Mari mentions Coach talking to someone that wasn't her in the cave when he was holding her there, and she couldn't see who it was. So she heard him or saw him talking to someone that wasn't there. Which makes me lean more towards the idea that it really, like, he really was hallucinating Paul again, or he was either that or he was just talking to himself, because somebody else saw it happening in real time and she didn't hear another person's voice. So to me, that kind of eliminates that Hobby having like an actual physical friend, if you will, unless it was a different friend that Ben was speaking to. Dark Ben. I'm feeling like Dark Ty is just part of Ty at this point. She's popping out left and right. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, Allison. I think that she is becoming one with her, if you will. Misty cross-examines Mari and attempts to put doubt in people's mind about Coach. And you can see that she even puts doubt in Mari's head while she's testifying in real time. She asked her a question like, do you think that that's what a cold-blooded murderer would do? And Mari can't honestly say yes, because he didn't treat her with malice. He didn't treat her. If he wanted to kill her, he could have killed her, like, plenty of times. Like, he didn't even try to kill her after she sprayed him in the face with the bear spray. And that would have pissed me off. So, Jeff and Shauna pull up in front of Sunnyview, aka the nursing home that Misty works at, which for me was karma for Shauna in itself, in a way, given the way that she's treated Misty and the I don't even know what word I'm trying to, like, what word I want to use here, but she just has such anger towards Misty and hatred, and like she just thinks Misty is vile. So this was karma for Shauna. I thought that's where they ended up going. Shauna asked Jeff why he had to pick this place, the place that Misty works at, and he said he had no idea. And he asked her if there's something going on between her and Misty, to which Shauna says no. But I personally have been wondering about this for a while. Shauna, like I said, Shauna treats Misty with such disdain as adults, way more so than she did in the teen timeline. Like, even more so, like, factoring in the fact that Misty didn't manage to help her baby survive childbirth, which I don't think that Misty could have done anything to make this baby survive, but Shauna may have thought that as a teenager. And like, something in my gut tells me like there could be a reason that we don't know about yet. I just feel like there's more to it than the usual disdain they all harbor towards Misty. Like, this is tenfold. Has Shauna Shipman come with her tail between her legs to apologize? I knew as soon as those words left Misty's lips that she would literally never receive a genuine apology from Shauna, as Shauna views Misty as beneath her and genuinely doesn't think that she did anything wrong that would warrant the need for an apology in the first place. But she did blame Misty for her breaks, and she did learn that nobody messed with her car. So the very least she could do is apologize to Misty for that. But let's be real, like, that's not Shauna's style. So I don't see that happening. As payback, Misty puts Shauna on tapioca duty, which, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure what that means, other than it has something to do with making tapioca pudding. So I couldn't tell you why that Misty saw that as a punishment, other than she thought that Shauna spends too much time in the kitchen, and that would be more of, as she said, that monotony for Shauna. Misty is the only one calling her Shipman. Is that true? Is that really true? Because that would be something if that's the case. Shauna isn't wrong to blame car issues on Misty. She's been known to do that. Yeah. Allison, you feel they were ever going to come back with that? Okay. So during the trial, Misty asked Shauna why she was awake so late the night of the fire, and she point blank asked Shauna if she burned the cabin down, to which Shauna says, that's fucking crazy. But Misty actually makes a pretty good argument, if you ask me, that supports the theory that Shauna burned it down, saying that Shauna could have done it out of jealousy over the fact that Natalie was selected to be leader over her, despite all the personal sacrifices that she made out there. And that burning down the cabin would have been the perfect opportunity for her to swoop in as the hero and save everyone. So Misty really, like, she really impressed me with her quick thinking and how she really put, like I said, put doubt in everyone's minds as to who could have done it, and made you really think about the fact that it could have been somebody other than Ben. Shauna set the fire and then it went all the way upstairs. No way. Yeah, I don't think it's plausible that Shauna started the fire. I just think that Misty did a good job making it look like it could have been other people. Ty asked for a redirect so she can question Shauna, and she asked Shauna if she thinks Ben is a hero. To which Shauna obviously says no, and points out that he didn't help her when she was in labor and try to save her baby. All I did was press play on a VHS tape. Who else did it drive crazy that she misquoted Ben in that moment? Because that is not what he said when that happened. And it just got under my skin that she said VHS tape, because he never said VHS tape. She says Coach isn't one of them, and that really scares him. Yeah, I saw somebody say that she even brought up it could have been Crystal, which I was like, oh my gosh, they have to know how much this fandom has been like, Crystal's alive, Crystal's not alive, Crystal was never real, like all these crazy theories about Crystal. And so that had to be like thrown out there for us. Like it really did. At least I thought so. Van and Ty continue to follow the man who picked up the queen card off the sidewalk into his apartment building. And like I said, what exactly was Ty's plan here? Was she just going to go straight into his apartment and kill him? And then we see Shauna in the kitchen of the nursing home making the tapioca, listening to I Saw the Sign by Ace of Base, which, may I add, is one of my favorite songs of all time. So love that. And Misty seems genuinely annoyed that Shauna is not hating her life right now. Misty says all she wants from Shauna is an apology. And Shauna says, I'm sorry that I don't even know what I'm supposed to be apologizing for. And then Misty imagines picking up a knife and stabbing Shauna in the back. After she has this hallucination, she promptly removes herself from the situation, saying, this is not healthy. I cannot be around this right now. And she physically leaves the nursing home, which really surprised me because Misty doesn't like to be left out of anything. Misty grabbing the puzzle pieces from Svetlana, when Svetlana said that she had been working on that puzzle for 4 weeks, was just so freaking ruthless. Like, so ruthless of her to steal those like 5 remaining pieces that she needed to complete that puzzle. It just, Misty, you are one of a kind. And then we see Lottie standing in front of the mirror, and we hear her say, I have a lot to apologize for. I know I hurt you. I know I hurt you. I understand that I hurt you. Oh, Charlotte, no, that's not. And then she stops talking. But who could she possibly have been practicing speaking to? And like, could it have possibly been her parents? Like, we haven't seen them factor into the story yet. And Lottie said she had nowhere else to go when she went to Shauna's. Maybe this is because she's estranged from her parents and now she wants to repair that relationship. Could it be someone from the cult? Maybe Lisa. Maybe she's still in contact with some of the diehards and she's trying to get the band back together, if you know what I mean. Yes, Alan, I just said Lisa. Yeah, it could have been Lisa. Shauna or Lisa are my guesses. I can't see it being Shauna. I can't see her going back to Shauna after Shauna saying, get the fuck out of my house the way she did. And Lottie crossed the line by giving Kelly that necklace. Like, big time crossed the line. And I think Lottie knew that. Misty raises the point that anyone who didn't believe in the wilderness and its power could have been the one to burn down the cabin. She points out that Shauna, Nat, Ty, Melissa, and Jen could have been responsible because none of them truly believed in the wilderness and the powers that it has. And this line of questioning with Lottie really begins to sow seeds of doubt about Ben's guilt. Shauna asked Ty what her next move is, and Ty says she doesn't have one. She was planning on resting. And Shauna then reveals to Ty that Nat knew where Coach had been hiding because Misty told her. And I'm not surprised that Shauna did this, but like, come on. Another friend who Shauna kicked out of a home ended up dead. It won't be Lisa. She's not a big enough character. I think she either killed herself or it was some supernatural accident. Lottie did it to provoke Shauna. She was in her penthouse. How does she have a penthouse if she didn't have any money or anywhere to go or any funds? How did she have a penthouse? That riddle me that. So then we see Shauna go to put something away in the walk-in freezer and someone seemingly locks her in on purpose. She envisions herself trapped in there with Jackie, which was very fitting in my opinion since Jackie froze to death. But if that would have been the way that Shauna died, it would have been so cheap in my opinion. I love Jackie haunting her, especially in these moments when she's the most vulnerable and not in control of the situation. That was a lie. She definitely had money. She still had all the money from the compound. She wasn't broke. Well, she made it appear like she didn't have any resources. Like, that's very much the vibe she was giving off. Why would she go to Shauna and tell Shauna that she had nowhere to go, that she had not, like, if she had nowhere to go, if she had money, then having nowhere to go wouldn't be a factor. At least that's how I took it. Ty and Van follow the man literally to his front door. And like I said earlier, this part lost me. I'm all for sacrifices, but this just seemed a little bit silly, as I said. Ty calls Nat to the stand for questioning, and she begins asking Nat when the exact last time she saw Coach was, trying to poke holes in her story. And Ty asks Nat if she believes Coach was responsible for the fire, and why didn't she ask him for the truth? And Nat says that she couldn't ask him for the truth because he wasn't around, and Ty reveals to the group that that was a lie, and Nat knew where he was the whole time. And this is when Misty realizes that Shauna betrayed her confidence in this moment. And I felt bad for Misty when she came to that realization, because Misty wants someone to be a friend to her. And clearly, like, she couldn't trust Shauna to keep that information to herself. I don't know why she thought Shauna was the person to try to trust, but every time she tries to develop a friendship with somebody, like, they take advantage of her, or it just goes south because she does something messed up, or it's never good. Like, any friendship that Misty has never ends well. So, but yeah, it kind of made me feel bad for her. Ty goes on to say that Nat knew where Coach was all along and didn't allow anyone to go looking for him in order to protect him, and lied to everybody. And Nat says she knew he was out there, but he wasn't a threat, and he should have been able to live in peace, which I'm surprised Lottie didn't latch on to Misty, considering she wanted to be needed so badly. Misty is so delulu. Yeah. Misty is just playing everyone desperate for a friendship. She betrayed Nat, who was being nice to her. I wish Misty hadn't messed things up with Walter. He was cute, quirky addition. Yeah, I wouldn't count Walter out just yet, though. I don't think he's, like, gonna give up and just go away. I can't see that. So Ty asked Nat if she believes Coach was responsible for the fire. Oh, wait, sorry. I already discussed that part. Shauna protests and says that wasn't up to Nat to decide about leaving Coach out there. And Misty then calls Coach to the stand for questioning, which I think that was a very interesting choice, because in a lot of cases, criminal cases, the defendant does not take the stand, because it does not look good for defendants in a lot of criminal cases when they take the stand to get cross-examined anyways. It just doesn't end up working well in their favor. But so that was interesting to see that start. And Ghost Jackie says to Shauna, maybe it's karma that Shauna is now locked in a freezer and maybe left for dead, just like she was. And Jackie says, someone is trying to hurt you, Shauna, for what you did, not just in the wilderness, but what you did when you got back. And what is this implying? Is it possible Shauna did something horrible post-wilderness, such as kill another survivor to avoid their secrets from getting out? We have no idea what Shauna's headspace and mindset is when they are rescued. But right now, in the teen timeline, that girl is one vengeful, rageful, angry human being. And she seems to be on a warpath and will destroy whoever gets in her way at the moment. Shauna asks Jackie, why can't she just leave her alone? And Jackie replies, you don't want that. I'm the most interesting thing about you. And Jackie goes on to taunt Shauna about the person that she's become, which, I mean, she wasn't wrong. Like, Shauna really didn't go on to become anything super special. Like, it really was kind of like a punch in the face. Randy to the rescue. Randy finds Shauna in the freezer and lets her out. And Shauna beelines it from the front desk of the nursing home, asking where Misty is and telling the employee that Misty locked her in a freezer. But she's told that Misty left hours ago. So if it wasn't Misty, who was it? I think Adam was in Shauna's first. And when she told the chop shop guy she was shaking, I could see that being totally plausible. Would not be surprised at all. So who locked Shauna in the freezer? I'm assuming that it's the same person that left the phone and the tape. I'm putting those all in the same category. It just makes sense for it all to be connected. Did Misty actually do it, or did it just close on its own because she had bad luck? Misty begins questioning Coach, and he tells them that he genuinely cares for them and said that he liked coaching them because they were underdogs. Sorry, guys, I lost my spot for a second. He says if he wanted to get them in trouble, he would have turned Van and Ty in when he found them in the back of the parking lot together after practice. And he says he would have put Misty on the team as opposed to making her equipment manager out of fear she would get hurt or bullied because she wasn't good enough. I was scared that maybe I was next and that you guys just didn't need me anymore. You know what? I was a coward. I left you and I shouldn't have. I acted exactly the same way that my parents would have, and that is embarrassing to me. It is shameful, and I am so fucking sorry, Shauna. Ugh, that was such a good monologue, and he says he didn't appreciate what they have done in order to survive, but do you think that he really means that, or do you think that was just to like save face and try to save his own life at that point? Because I mean, this obviously hasn't gone in his favor. His speech made me cry. Yeah, it was really moving. You could tell it was heartfelt, and he meant every word of it. And I think he meant it. Oh yeah, I agree. I think he meant it too. My heart just breaks for him. Love Ben, but haven't needed him since like week 2, honestly. He meant it for sure. Yeah. He says he fucked up, and while he may not understand their belief system, he didn't try to kill them, and he says he wouldn't and couldn't do that. And if I had to vote, my hand would have been raised for not guilty, because in order to convict someone in a court of law, it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. And there is plenty of reasonable doubt in this scenario. So I would, in good conscience, would not have been able to vote guilty. And they were biased jurors, so they all voted the way that their heart told them to vote, not the way that logic should have told them to vote. Jeff gets home from the nursing home to be greeted by Shauna with a cat, saying that she found the cat from the missing flyer Jeff had earlier and said he wanted to find for good karma, the cat. He asked Shauna if it's the exact cat, to which she says no. That cat is most definitely dead by now, but they can pretend it is, and that's like karma times 1,000. And Shauna said that she had to go into the city to find this cat. So I didn't realize just how close they live to the city. Like, if you can just like, oh, I'm gonna go in the city to adopt a cat. I'll be right back. And then we see Ty getting her soft pretzel and horse and carriage ride in NYC with Dan. And Linger by the Cranberries was playing in this moment, and another amazing needle drop in that moment. The Linger is one of my all-time favorite songs. I love the Cranberries, and they are clearly Cranberries fans too, because they've used quite a few Cranberry songs so far. But Ty gets her horse and carriage ride and her pretzel, but when Van goes to hand the pretzel guy the money, you see her hand like shaking, like tremors, and Ty asks if she's okay. I thought the doctor said her cancer looked as if it was going into remission. So if that's the case, then what is going on here? Like, does it have anything to do with cancer? Because Van said it was just adrenaline from the day. Adrenaline from the day? Like, what did you do that gave you so much adrenaline? So the group begins voting. The tolls would show she went into the city. That's a good point. The Manhattan comment, I think, was dropped to make... Oh, yeah, that's 100% what I think it was dropped to, Allison. To put doubt in our mind and make us speculate which one of them could have killed Lonnie. because I think they want us to assume that it was one of them. But I've seen some people say they think it was Callie, which, no, sorry. I don't see that. I don't think they would go in that direction. It just, nope. I'm going to say no as of now for that. The group begins voting and 2/3 majority wins, excluding Nat, Ty, and Misty. They say they will vote until they reach a majority for what seems like hours on end. And the first round of voting, multiple people vote that they think Coach is innocent, but not enough for the 2/3 majority. On their last vote, Shauna begins to protest, saying he literally tried to burn them alive, trying to persuade people and vote their minds or change their minds. And Nat says the trial is over. Like, you need to stop. And Shauna then goes, anyone who finds him guilty, raise your fucking hand. And Shauna glares at Jen long enough to make her feel physically uncomfortable. You can tell. And intimidated. And she changes her vote from innocent to guilty. Shauna then asks, the rest of you? To which Missy accuses Shauna of cheating, which she 100% was cheating. You cannot tell me that she did not cheat in that moment. That was cheating. Give them a minute. Like, give them a minute, bitch. No. No. Not cool. Not cool. Yes, as somebody said, jury intimidation. Yes, Shauna bullied the hell out of that vote. Yes. Sophie's line delivery gave me goosebumps. She's so good. Yeah, I would agree. Sophie did a great job in this episode. Yeah. Not a real trial. Anything goes. Well, if they wanted to do it the right way, they would have done it with all the right rules. So we then see the wind blow through the trees from Lottie's perspective, or so it seems, like the wilderness was trying to tell her something, which suddenly causes Lottie to change her vote from innocent to guilty. Travis then follows suit, then Akilah, which is enough for the majority. And let me just say that the look on Shauna's face in this moment absolutely disgusted me. It honestly made me say, F you, Shauna, in this moment. And I said this earlier when Chloe was on with me, that I will be one of the first to make excuses for Shauna and her behavior because of all the trauma she's endured. But this just really disappointed me and kind of pissed me off, to be honest with you. Shauna seems like she's determined to literally just destroy anyone that she comes across, and feels like, and Ben is just the latest one on her list. I don't even know if I think that she truly believes he's guilty or not. It's possible she just wants chaos because right now she seems to thrive in it and feed off it in a way that, like, she just feeds off of it. You guys the comments are going crazy. I'm trying to keep up with you guys, but you guys are going so fast. By the way, the beeping sounds can be heard during the voting scenes when things go sideways. Are you talking about the beeping sounds that you hear with Travis in the beginning of the episode, Chloe? Who is unaliving the Yellowjackets? Shauna, Travis, Lottie. But when Nat tells Coach they find him guilty, his facial expression to me indicates that he really could give two shits about what ends up happening to him at this point anyways. Like, they're also heard in the credits of beeping sounds. Yes, for all of you who don't know what we're talking about, when Travis sees them accompany Coach back into their camp at the beginning of the episode in his hammock, when you're watching the scene, you can hear what sounds like, the only way I can describe it is it sounds like a monitor that's used to track someone's heartbeat in the hospital, a heart monitor. You can hear the beeping. It's very distinct. Once you hear what it is, you'll know exactly what I mean. And apparently that noise is present in quite a few scenes in this episode. Medical equipment. Yes. Thank you, Chloe. Yes, it's some kind of medical equipment. So very interesting that we heard it when we heard it. This is what I'm talking about. Look at what you just did. Do you feel that right now? That's fucking power. And that's Melissa to Shauna. And Shauna grabs Melissa's hand here, which Lottie notices. And I have a feeling that Melissa is going to be Shauna's hype girl of sorts and put her on a pedestal, which Shauna will enjoy and use to her advantage and try to leverage with the rest of the group. I scoured Reddit after this episode and read opinion after opinion on everyone's initial thoughts, and a good portion of the fandom came to the same consensus that no one can stand Teen Shauna anymore. They feel like it's getting harder and harder to defend her behavior and the things she's doing and the way that she's treating other people. And I think that's the writer's intention. Jonathan Lisco said in an interview that if they tell the story right, that cannibalism won't be their biggest transgression. And I think that this means that we're finally getting to the nitty-gritty of what they actually did that they don't want the general public finding out about. Because if they're rescued, it's just stuff that they don't want people knowing. And after the trial is over, Travis is seen holding some type of like scroll, it looks like. And like, where did this even come from? And Lottie asks him what it is, and he says it's the outcome. And if I remember correctly, it's like a figure laying down underneath 3 other figures. So what does it mean that it's the outcome? And Melissa also smiling, watching Shauna beat Lottie in season 2. Oh, okay. Melissa trying to push Shauna as their future leader. Nat's popularity has gone down, probably, which is harsh. They did unspeakable things of their own volition. Yeah, they absolutely did. I think everything will hate all the teens. We knew it was coming from the pilot and Cannibal Council. Yeah, I would agree with that, Kim. I think by the end of the series, we're going to feel very strongly about a lot of them, like even ones that we didn't expect to. Misty examines the blank piece of paper that she took from Svetlana's room, but finds absolutely nothing. And she opens up her computer and receives a text message from Walter at the same time. We see Misty log on to the citizen detective board, and she clicks on the post that says body found, details still coming in. And she opens her text from Walter simultaneously, which reads, I just heard about Lottie. Are you okay? And when Misty clicks on the image, it's revealed to be crime scene photos of Lottie, who is seemingly found dead on what appears to be a stairwell of sorts. Which, wow, that's the way the episode ends. Wow. The place where who placed the candles? Yes, one of my questions, Carrie. I see your question. The place where Lottie's body is found is 1000% the same place she envisions during her baptism with Laura Lee in season 1. Was this foreshadowing of her own death and we just didn't even realize it? Similar to how Natalie saw Misty at the party the night of before they left for nationals when she was tripping on acid, and Misty ended up killing her. Lottie is laying on the ground, bleeding from her head, indicating that someone more than likely did this on purpose. Someone killed her. Is this the same person that's been messing with Shauna this whole time? Why would they go as far as to kill Lottie, though? What does this person even want from Shauna to begin with? Who could have possibly wanted Lottie dead? They weren't even aware that Lottie was no longer in the mental institution at the beginning of season 2. What reason would someone have had to kill her? Unless this person blames Nat or blames Lottie for Nat's death, or maybe even Travis's death. There's no blood in that photo. I'm almost positive I saw blood underneath her head. I could be wrong, but I swear I saw blood on the ground underneath her head in a pool. Who killed Lottie? I'm assuming at this point that she was murdered, given the way she was found and the fact that there is blood. Okay, yeah, I wasn't incorrect then. I'm assuming that like the way she was found and the fact that she, like I said, that she was bleeding from, if there was blood, which at this point I'm just going to say there was because I thought I saw blood, and she was bleeding from the head. The staircase she was found was lined with candles. So who put the candles there? Did Lottie herself put the candles there? Did the person who killed her put the candles there? Like, when did the candles come into play? Were the candles placed there before Lottie died? Were the candles placed there after Lottie died? Or like, did she invite whoever this person was there, like to that location? Like she wanted them there and they knew where to go. Did this person seek her out unknowingly and Lottie fell victim to whoever was messing with them? Like, I have so many questions about Lottie, so many, and I hope that we get a lot of answers because I really, really want to know. I think we're in for a whodunit clue style episode next week. That would be fun. That would be really fun. I'm down for that. Did it happen right after she went to the bank? Are you talking about her death? I don't know. I don't know how long after it was. Maybe Lottie did for some ritual and Misty showed up and shot her with fentanyl. The blood could be had from the fall. I don't know, Carrie. I don't know how soon after her trip to the bank that she met her demise. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get more context into that. So where will they go from here with Coach? I don't think Natalie has the heart to kill him or even sentence him to death. But Shauna sure does. And for the first time since the beginning of Yellowjackets, I am finding myself annoyed and irritated with T and Shauna because of her behavior here. Coach even said he was sorry and for being like not being there the way that she needed him to be with the baby. And even if he had acted differently, do we think that would have honestly changed the outcome of her situation? Like, really, would it have changed it that much? Still no sign of Hilary Swank, and the more time that goes by without an appearance by her, the less inclined I am to believe that she plays an additional survivor. At this point, I'm leaning towards a relative of someone, and I had a crazy thought. What if Hilary Swank is related to Coach Ben? What if she's there to get answers on what really happened to him? Because we don't 100% know his fate just yet. But after this episode, I'm going to assume Shauna calls for his execution because she clearly wants some type of bloodshed. So I am not thinking that things are going to go well for Coach. Like, would love for it to be the total opposite and for him to live till the very end. Nothing would make me happier. I would love nothing more than a Coach Ben in the present day timeline reveal. Like, I've been rooting for that since the get-go. But realistically, after this trial, like, oh, R.I.P. Ben. Like, that's just I don't think so. Too many of them want to see him pay for what he did. It could go either way. I know I'll be shocked either way. Yeah, I definitely will be shocked either way. That's a good way to put it. For sure, it will be shocking. Shauna will be a very dangerous leader, yes. Now, that was a shocking ending. Wouldn't you agree? I don't think any of us expected that to happen. I keep asking myself, what was the point of introducing adult Lottie and making this big deal about her still being around only to kill her off this early? But the showrunners keep saying that they have a plan, so I'm going to try and trust in that plan. Shauna will be the leader 100% when they split. Coach kicked Lottie down the stairs with his good leg. Yes, such a shock came out of nowhere. So like I said, yeah, I'm going to try to trust in the fact that they said that they have a plan, because I know as of now that there's a lot of mixed feelings about this season. And some people are saying that they're not extremely pleased with it yet. But I feel like we need to see it, the finished product, and see it from start to finish before you can pass true judgment on it and decide if you really enjoy it or not, because the story isn't even finished being told yet. So Simone Kessel was blindsided by this. She said the showrunners couldn't give any real answers. I also read that the fact that there was a writer's strike changed things, and that her fate was altered after the strike. So if that's true, they might have had other plans for her. The actresses of YJ are amazing, so even if the writing is kind of whack, I'll still enjoy it. Yeah, they are. The cast does a hell of a job, and I can't envision every person that was cast in their role is the perfect person for that role. Like their casting just knocked it out of the park on all levels for every character. Like today when I was talking with Alexa, I asked her how she feels about the fact that the fandom, a good portion of the fandom, isn't a fan of her character. And she said that you can still love a character but not like them at the same time, essentially. Like you can love to hate them. And I think in those scenarios that speaks so much to the actual actor or actress, because they're able to provoke such strong feelings out of someone about who they play. So really excited for you guys to see that interview. It's going to be really good. She was an absolute sweetheart. And yeah, so I'm going to release that next week during the Hive After Dark episode on March 9th. So tune in for that. I will drop it during the Hive After Dark next week. So if you want to see that, make sure you're here at 9. And now that I've been talking for a while, I think it's about time to wrap things up for this week. Like we've said all night, what an ending to this episode. It left me with so many questions that I hope we get answers to before the end of the season, or at least the end of the series. I'll be back same time, same place next week to discuss episode 305, titled Did Ty Do That? What do you guys think that the episode title means? Steven and Sophie ended an interview together and talking about Shauna during I saw that, Allison. That's fucked up. And Sophie said it's Yellowjackets, which sums it all up. Yeah, I saw that. That was perfect quote. But like I said, normally there's an obvious plot point that contributes to the title each week. So what do you guys think did Ty do that could possibly mean? I thought maybe it meant, did Ty set the cabin on fire? Like, are we going to find out that she was the one that set the fire? Will that be what saves Coach? Like maybe they're, oh my God, Ty set the fire, so we can't kill Coach. I don't know. I'm hoping something happens at the last second and they're like, nope. But could be about the fire or Lottie. Spoiler alert, Ty breaks into Lowe's and goes to town on a bag of soil. Did Ty do that in Urkel's voice? Maybe it implies they think Ty killed Lottie. Yeah, I could see that being the case for sure. But stay tuned for announcements for another special guest that I have coming in the works. More to come on that soon as I get everything scheduled and squared away. And like I said, I will be releasing the interview with Alexa for you all next week. So as always, thank you so much for buzzing in and keeping me company and being here and being in the comments. You guys are chatty tonight. It was hard for me to keep up, to be honest with you, but I love that. It makes me so happy to have everybody here and talking about the show. And I'm so excited to come back and talk about next week's episode, because hopefully we find out what happens to Coach. And that's something that I've been the most curious about for the whole series. Well, I mean, this season specifically. So, and again, thank you, Chloe, for popping on and sharing your thoughts too. It was wonderful to have you. And with that, until I spill again.